Back into the fight at the Pleasanton Highland Games. I've made a lot of improvements to my game this off-season, but so has everyone else. Finished up day one, and Dan has clearly run away with it a little bit, bearing something incredible today. Most likely he's got it, and for the 5th straight time, he deserves it. But right now, Scotty and I are going to really fight it out for second, and so we both got some great events coming up. We've got lightweight for distance, which will just be a battle between the two of us, really a toss-up. The open stone's a good event for both of us. I think he's probably got the advantage. And then for the hammer, I've got the advantage between the two of us. So I'm not sure how it's gonna end up, but we're gonna fight it out. The open stone is just like the shot put. It's a 16-pound stone. You're gonna attempt to throw it just as far as you can. The Highland Games brings a lot of athletes from a lot of different backgrounds in. Scott, for example, is a former Olympian. He's also been the UK's best shot putter for a number of years. It's guys like him that force you to work all year to get better.
Over to the professional, VINCENT, the current world champion for throw.
Outside of this intense competition, I got a chance to sit down with Mark and Andy Bell. They've done an amazing job of turning his passion for powerlifting into a booming business. With things like Power Magazine, the Powercast, Super Training Gym, and Slingshot, Mark and Andy have done a great job of turning passion and hard work into a lifestyle.
You know, I powerlifted since I was I'm like 13 or 14 years old, so I always knew that that was always going to be there.
You love lifting.
Yeah, I love lifting, and I remember, you know, going to contests, and there'd be guys there that are 40 years old, bench pressing 500 pounds, and I'm like, shit, this is great, you can do this for so long.
Super Training Gym is the hub of Mark's universe. This is where Mark gets to spend time with athletes from all over the country, helping them reach their goals in powerlifting. Mark uses his 30 years of expert knowledge in strength training to help build this gym to the strongest on the West Coast.
If you walk with the lame, you'll develop a limp. True. And that's something I carried with me out here. When we moved here, I just kind of got to thinking, like, I need my own spot where I can bring in my own guys and we can have this kind of team type thing just like they have at Westside. I just remember being at Westside, seeing, you know, Chuck Vogelpool squat, you know, like 1,100 pounds or 800 pounds with all this band and chain tension on there and stuff. And, you know, when people come into my gym and they say, I want to squat 800 pounds, I've helped people do that before. That's common. You know, 400-pound bench is very common, 500-pound benches, there's a few of us in the gym. But when people go to these places and it's uncommon, what do you think the results are going to be? You know, when you go to 24-hour fitness and you ask a trainer, hey man, my goal is to bench 400, they might go, 400? Like, that's a lot of weight, man. Like, I don't know. But in my gym, we say, we'll get you there.
Super Training, you know, the gym, the powerlifting gym that you've got over there, you don't charge members. I think that's a really, really interesting thing for a guy who's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
You know,
it's you know, somebody in the gym asked me, they said, you know, why is the gym free? I said, because I want to be rich. And so part of this whole process is me giving back, and that's a way, and I love it. I fucking love it. The things that came from Super Training, I can't ever pay back, you know, and it's not just for me. It's from everybody that's been involved in there. The Slingshot would have never came to be. Power Magazine would never, you know, none of that stuff would exist without that quality, without that gym, you know. Press. Good, last one. Press.
Strength training is going to be a critical part for any athlete to succeed. However, this is just one small part of the puzzle. Having the proper technique in your sport is just as important. You'll never be able to maximize your strength and performance unless your technique is dialed in. In the Scottish Highland Games, the hammer is going to be the best proof of this. This event is all speed and technique. You'll never be able to muscle this one out there. Oh! Go! With Scotty taking a point out of me at the stone, the hammer is going to be my chance to steal one back. Sometimes shit just falls apart. No matter what you do, everything feels heavy and shit just doesn't go your way. Injuries and plateaus are just part of the game. How you fight back from injuries is what separates champions from everyone else.
real important for people to understand is like we all eat shit. You know, we both ate shit together for a while. You know, we both weren't exactly happy with where everything.
Yeah, I got lumped into that.
Oh, sorry. But you know,
lived in Ohio.
we just,
Yeah.
you know, weren't in the place that we wanted to be, and so we kind of just took it upon ourselves to make the moves that we needed to keep moving us forward.
It's easy to look at Mark's success and think this happened overnight. The truth is, being successful on your own terms is one of the hardest roads out there.
Quinn, who's 7 now, was just born. We had just bought a house, and then I lost my job, and it came out of nowhere. And at that point, I was kind of the main income earner for our family. And
Main only.
main
Yeah.
only. And we kind of panicked and, you know, went on unemployment and tried to find a job and didn't know what was going to happen.
Both of you
We had
basically
no
zero
money.
income.
Yeah. So we started thinking about, well, what are the 2 things that we're passionate about and that we like? And I really loved working in the magazine industry. He's a powerlifter, so we thought, well, there's really only one powerlifting magazine.
that's terrible.
I was also looking at that.
Yeah,
Well, I remember physically looking at the magazine. I'm like, this magazine's just not that good.
Right.
And she's like, well, we can make our own. And I was like, we can?
Mark and Andy's background as top-level athletes is going to allow them to know how to grind through those hard times to keep getting where they're going. Whether in competition or work, pressure is always going to show its face. And at the end of the day, preparation is what's going to make the difference in whether you rise to the challenge or you crumble and fail. Going into the last event right now, Dan McKim is still solidly in place in first place, but second place right now is still a battle between me and Scott. This is the last event. I'm up right now by 1/2 point, so it's really going to come down to whoever wins this event is going to take second place. So it's going to be a fight.
Second place. 98 feet 10.
Pleasure. This pressure isn't just found in athletics. These lessons that I've learned from training, traveling, and competing, they help me in everyday life. You know, a lot of people only end up seeing a finished product and think like, well, geez,
Right.
Yeah.
if I had that look, and you know, like, man,
Or
fuck
I
you.
thought of that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
You
people
know
tell
what?
us that, yeah.
You know what? Well, you didn't do it. And not only that, like, you didn't go through the trials and tribulations and the failure.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing.
And
Bringing
to
it to
keep
market.
pushing. Yeah.
Is huge.
I was working on the slingshot for a good 3 years or so before anything really happened.
Right. It took a really
It was in my
long
head, and I told a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and they said, that's a horrible idea.
yeah.
Seems, I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
I appreciate how much work goes into the entire thing, and not only that, you know, that it isn't overnight success.
Right.
Right.
You know, people will think it is, and then
Yeah, they say it takes 20 years to be an overnight success.
it's exactly right. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. You know, just start something. Just whatever it is that's in your head, just work on work on making it happen. Like if you have
Don't
like
be so scared to fail.
if you have an
Right, failure. Yeah, everyone's gonna eat through it. I mean, they talk about Donald Trump's been bankrupt twice.
right. You know, a lot of people they'll say, "Oh, you know, I got this concept, but I'm going to work on it down the road."
Yeah.
Why down the road? Why not start doing as much as you can? Maybe you don't have the finances to start whatever it is that you're trying to start, but get everything in place so that someday you can pitch the idea to somebody or you can figure out a way to get that thing started.
You know, I get phone calls from people every day that are telling me, like, you know, I'm 50 years old and I haven't benched in, you know, 15 years because I can't, and they're crying on the phone.
Inspiring people and pursuing your passion is what I love. Mark and Andy have been a huge inspiration for me and this entire project. Having the unique ability I've got to travel and compete, I want to share these stories and lessons with as many people as I can. So, finished up day 2, managed to hold on to second place. Scott came in just behind me in the lightweight for distance, so just as close as it could be. Dan McKim managed first. That guy's as good as it gets right now. Keep moving forward. Back home, ready to train. Cheers. Competing's great, but at the end of the day, I want to meet passionate people that inspire me to be better. Mark, Andy, Kelly, and Jesse have been big inspirations for me. They've helped me push myself outside of my comfort zone and make the most of what I've got going. Being able to share this information with you has been great for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Stick around. More DRIFTA LIFTA to come. Woo!
It should feel like Wolverine's gnawing on his neck, right?